Hello and welcome to coverage of the CM Discord's game night. I'm Caillou, and today we're going to be watching the Swiss Round 1 match of this Lorado Swiss tournament. Today's game is between MasterKulon, who appears to be playing some sort of green-red aggro build, and Cftsoc, who seems to be playing white-black attrition. Is going to tar snare the Rain Dancer, which I guess is this format's version of Bolt the Bird, and swing in for 2 with the Redeemed Lawbringer. Now Kulon can't hope to trade off with the Lawbringer, and either has to chump with the Greenskin, but it's not going to do that. Instead is going to let Cftsoc get in, triggering the Renown on this Lawbringer. Does still have overwhelming card advantage over Cftsoc though. Cftsoc has 2 lands, and then this Bloodshot Coach Thief, which does technically draw him more cards at the cost of life, and this Chupacabra, which is kind of middling at this point. Meanwhile, MasterKulon is going to run out the Wild Mustang, swing back in for 1 with the Greenskin Geologist, but will be able to swing for 5 next turn by pairing this Mustang with the Greenskin Geologist. Just has a steady stream of aggressive creatures right here. Next turn, after pairing Wild Mustang with the Greenskin Geologist, can use Man vs. Machine to trade it off with the Redeemed Lawbringer. Meanwhile, Cftsoc just hitting more lands here. Yeah, I feel like if you're Cftsoc, you just run out the Bloodshot Coach Thief and then try to draw into some, like, gassier cards. Because Chupacabra on its own is pretty middling if you don't have any fodder for it. So yeah, he's going to run out Bloodshot Coach Thief. You know, there's so many iconic cards in Magic's history. Bob or Dark Confidant is one of them, so I feel like every custom designer wants to do a little riff on it in their set. So this is Lorado's riff on it. Definitely has a little bit of a damned if you do, damned if you don't vibe, and I think giving the opponent the choice is a fun twist on it. So Kulon is going to run out this Kairi Brave. So then can pair Mustang. Oh, it's just going to go to end. I guess the thought is next turn attack with Wild Mustang and Kairi Brave. They both become 3/3 first strikers. So on upkeep, Cftsoc going to reveal this Bloodshot Enforcer. Cftsoc is going to name 3. Kulon's not going to pay it, so just going to give Cftsoc the Bloodshot Enforcer. And hitting a Tar Snare off the top of his library. That's what he really needs. Because now he can Tar Snare the Wild Mustang, and that puts Kulon out of the 3/3 first striker play for next turn. So he's going to run out the Bloodshot Enforcer. And is just going to end. I guess Tar Snare is an instant, but I feel like if Cftsoc killed the Wild Mustang, he could have just attacked in with a Redeemed Lawbringer. If Kulon decides to double block, just kill one of them and then you get to kill the other one for free. Yeah, I would have definitely attacked him with the Redeemed Lawbringer. Okay, gonna run out at the Thunderhoof Wildshaper, just widening this board, and then doesn't have enough mana for another creature in the Centaur field hand, but could run out the Man vs. Machine. But no, it's just passing. That seems bad to me. I feel like at worst, you want to home on the range. Maybe MasterKulon is misreading Man vs. Machine and thinks it's an instant in that it doesn't say artifact, but I don't know. Revealed Sacred Hoof Wildshaper from the top of his library. Kulon will pay the 2. Now Cftsoc kind of hitting his stride. Has the Feather Swine, which is going to get past this board stall. The Tar Snare takes care of anything problematic Kulon might have. And the Chupacabra, once it comes down, since it doesn't have a mana cost, even if Kulon has removal for the Feather Swine, in response, Cftsoc can just buff up Chupacabra to a 4/4. But isn't playing the Chupacabra... I feel like not playing the Tar Snare at all in the previous turn cycle was a mistake. Like, I think Cftsoc, especially because this Bloodshot Coach Thief is gonna tick him down life, I feel like Cftsoc should be playing a lot more aggressively than he is right now. Speaking of aggressive, this Bloodshot Desperada definitely could come down and start shooting Cftsoc board. Like, you play the Desperada, kill the Coach Thief, and suddenly Cftsoc in a much worse position. So I guess Kulon's trying to decide what to attack with. I mean, if anything, it's just Kairi Brave plus Wild Mustang, right? Oh, and attacking with the Thunderhoof Wild Shaper. I guess because of its transformability, so it attacks, it trades at minimum with anything Cftsoc has if he chooses to block it. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like this is the time where Cftsoc should run out should have run it out earlier, or I guess it can run it out now and then stop the pairing. No, but like, isn't it too late? Because they've already Kulon's already declared attacks. Yeah, so the triggers are on the stack, but they'll still resolve, right? Even if Cftsoc kills one of these creatures. Okay, so it's gonna Tar Snare the Kairi Brave, but should have done this earlier to prevent the Warband triggers from even triggering in the first place. Okay, so the triggers resolve, so Wild Mustang becomes 3/3 First Striker. Gonna block the Thunderhoof Wild Shaper with the Redeemed Lawbringer, which forces Kulon to use the mana to trade right here. So yep, Kulon's gonna turn into 3/3 Horse. It trades with the Redeemed Lawbringer, and Cftsoc takes 3 from the Mustang. And yeah, Cftsoc like much more on the back foot than I feel like he needs to be. Just given the options he had there. Feels like a bit of a blunder. But oh my god, has a Farajo. I don't know why it's not showing up here, but let's see if I can. Yeah, so here's Farajo Peacemaker. I'm not sure why it's not showing up in the game. Plausibly, Cftsoc is on a different version. Why Cftsoc is in white makes a lot more sense now. You can essentially keep +1ing it to pacifism a single creature. It has an enchantment tutor, so if you have impactful cards, like I'm not sure in this format if there is just a straight up pacifism, but I know that there are powerful enchantments as a support for the straight mechanic, which is basically you get an extra effect with X equal to the number of permanents you control with the greatest consecutive converted mana cost. So there is a distinct focus on like permanents, just beyond creatures. Yeah, so it looks like Kulon did not pay the 5, and so is gonna Cftsoc gonna tick down to 6 life, almost double bolting himself to get this Farajo, and uses its +1, is gonna freeze the Wild Mustang, and then swing in with the Bloodshot Enforcer to gain back some of that life. I feel like not attacking with the Feather Swine surprises me. Okay, and then main 2 is going to run out the Chupacabra, is now empty-handed, but with this Bloodshot Coach Thief plus Bloodshot Enforcer and Farajo generating iterative value, I'm not sure what Kulon can do. Because Kulon has been stuck on 3 lands this entire game. Like, my god, this is just like so many cards and so little that Kulon can do. So Minotaur Chieftain is literally not playable. I guess at this point, can't even Campfire and then play something else this turn, which is the worst part. So it's gonna, I guess, run out the Centaur Field Hander, but it needs an answer for this Farajo, and I almost feel like that turn should have Man versus Machine traded the Bloodshot Coach Thief for the Wild Mustang, but I guess that would leave Kulon super behind on board. Okay, and then just gonna pass. So hitting a Bad Blood from the top of their library, and oh my god. That is an impressive hit, because Cftsoc can name like a decent life total, and then put this on the Bloodshot Enforcer and then gain it all back. And Kulon is tapped out, so it doesn't have to worry about instant speed burn. 4 seems like a reasonable middle ground. I was thinking either 5 or 3, because 3 is how much Bad Blood itself will gain you back if you put it on Bloodshot Enforcer, and 5 is the total of Bloodshot Enforcer's power plus Bad Blood. And wow, a second Chupacabra. Again, feels like Cftsoc doesn't quite have the density of creatures to make this work. Bad Blood on the Bloodshot Enforcer, or could put it on the Feather Swine, honestly. And then just, oh yeah, it's putting it on the Feather Swine. I did not think of that. Yeah, and now that puts Kulon on a 4-turn clock. I am worried though that I feel like Cftsoc relying on this Bloodshot Enforcer to not get blown out here, because like Bloodshot Coach Thief plus Bloodshot Enforcer is just a beating, or like it's a beating for your opponent, but Bloodshot Coach Thief alone is just a beating for yourself. Like I feel like, but I guess the problem is if you put Bad Blood on Bloodshot Enforcer, oh never mind, is going to -2 Farajo, find another Bad Blood from his library, using the tutor ability. Feather Swine is now a 7/3, and even if Kulon kills it, he'll take a whopping 6 damage from both the Bad Bloods. So it's going to run out the Bloodshot Desperata, and I guess just at this point, can Bloodshot Desperata sacrifice his entire board and kill Cftsoc actually? Oh yeah, okay. Oh yeah, that actually works. That explains why he played the Field Hander last turn, to get him that 1 extra creature to be able to kill Cftsoc with the Desperata. It's the perfect amount. Oh no! And yeah, Cftsoc just has to concede there, 1 turn away from winning. God, that was a crazy game actually. Like for a limited game, fly pig, fly, and then, but like flew too close to the sun by taking, if only he'd paid 1 less life, or put it on a Bloodshot Desperata instead. And wow, we're looking at actual sideboarding here. What's going on? I feel like generally, like I'm not sure what would you side in here. Like I feel like, because usually in the side you'd side in like enchantment, artifact removal, and that sort of thing, where it's like it's not worth playing main, but if your opponent has something really spicy, you want to have it in. Okay, so finally going into game 2, it really feels like Cftsoc deck is the better one because of the Farajo and the Bloodshot Coach Thief and just all of the craziness, and having like a lot more removal. Kulon could make it happen if he just aggroes out hard enough. This hand seems kind of sus. No green sources, so nothing to cast Campfire turn 1. No way to cast those Moxonite Slugs. Yeah. A little bit better, but doesn't have a play until turn 3. Curving Centaur Fieldhander or like Bloodshot Desperata into a nothing to lose is pretty great, I do have to say. Probably the Centaur Fieldhander because you want to avoid Tar Snare now that Kulon knows that Cftsoc has it. Meanwhile, it looks like the Farajo's cards are for some reason not showing up properly for Cftsoc. So it looks like it's an aura with enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each creature you control, and you can sacrifice it to instead buff up your whole team. So pretty good, especially with some of the more evasive threats we're seeing from Cftsoc, like the Feather Swine and this Scavenging Vulture. And once again, these Chupacabras seem very sus, but I'm suspecting that Cftsoc just needed filler and just had some bombs in black and white. Okay, so Cftsoc gonna run out the Scavenging Vulture. And I guess fortunately for Kulon, Cftsoc also had a slow start. So yeah, Centaur Fieldhander is the play over Bloodshot Desperata because of its 1 more toughness, which avoids the Tar Snare. Then next turn can either run out the Vengeance Pact Maker to give both Fieldhander and Pact Maker Menace in 2 turns, or can just go straight nothing to lose and just go hard aggro. So we're now going to swing in for 2 with the Scavenging Vulture. So now Cftsoc has a Chupacabra, but since the Vulture is tapped, won't be able to block the Fieldhander this turn. Oh, and does have one of the LDO Pain lands. These cards definitely put in work during their tenure in Standard, because being able to have a dual color land that also fixes you, or like cycles for you in the late game, just is crazy value. For now, though, Kulon doesn't need to play that. Instead, we'll play Nothing to Lose on the Centaur Fieldhander. Going to be swinging in for a whopping 6 this turn. Ouch. And yeah, unfortunately, Cftsoc just doesn't have a response to this. Can't even Tar Snare to kill it. I guess double Tar Snare would work, but then I guess you're not 2 for 1ing yourself because Nothing to Lose makes that a 2 for 2. But Cattle Drive is kind of the perfect top deck for Cftsoc. This explains the Chupacabras. This explains the Chupacabras very much. Oh my god. So now combat math becomes insane because you can play the the cattle drive, uh, have enough blockers to be able to convincingly stop the centaur field hander, and then also be able to just buff up the chupacabra if you want to. What I think you do is you double block with an oxen and chupacabra, then buff chupacabra up to an 8/8, so it'll survive the centaur field handers. And then this turn you attack in with the scavenging vulture. Instead, putting the Farajo's blessing on scavenging vulture, making it a 4/3, I guess, and is gonna swing in 4/6. I don't know what to think of this. Kulon is down to 12 though, so I guess the thought is, as long as Kulon taps out, you next turn go cattle drive, sacrifice them all, swing in with chupacabra plus scavenging vulture for 12 damage. But that both assumes that A, Kulon won't play another blocker this turn, and B, that somehow his goat just evaporates. I guess Cftsoc is playing contrary to, like, he's like, man, last game I was too passive, now I need to be aggressive, but like, this feels a little sus, I'm not gonna lie. And yep, field hander swinging in for another 6. So next turn does kill Cftsoc if Cftsoc doesn't have a blocker, because swings in with the field hand, and then uses Bloodshot Desperado for the last 2. And yep, is playing the Vengeance Pact Maker now, just for that extra menace kick and Thunderhoof Wildshaper. So even if Cftsoc runs out a removal spell on one of these creatures, MasterKulon will still have enough to burn out Cftsoc next turn. Notably, will also still have enough to kill Cftsoc, even if Cftsoc like keeps up his blockers. He needs to cast the cattle drive now, and now the oxen makes math problematic, and the scavenging vulture gets buffed the heck up because of the Farajo's blessing. So swinging in with just the vulture, which makes sense because this way Cftsoc can block 2 menace creatures, take 3, and then is not at risk of dying to a Bloodshot Desperado. Even if he doesn't like know that Kulon has a Bloodshot Desperado right here, he's just like, I can block 2 menace creatures, and I doubt that you have something that deals 5 damage to me. Okay, so is still gonna run out the Bloodshot Desperado. So even if Kulon dies next turn, so he has to. No, don't try to shoot one of the oxen. See, I guess this. Though I guess this does force Cftsoc to sacrifice it in response and make Chupacabra a 4/4. So now can only block 1 menace creature, and so has to block the Centaur field hand, and then I was gonna say then the other 2 menace creatures get through for 6 damage, and then you can do the last 2 by sacking them. I guess this also works, because now you kill all of the oxen with the Desperada and then swing in with Field Hander plus Pact Maker, and Cftsoc is just dead. And doesn't have the mana for the Tar Snare here. So that's game. Wow, and like both games, Cftsoc was just 1 turn off from being able to beat Kulon. Kulon in that first game just held on, and like I guess Bloodshot Desperada is really just like the MVP for Kulon's deck here, just giving him the reach that he needed and the selective removal. But yeah, so good games to Kulon, and and I think this is only the first round of Swiss, so Cftsoc can still make it back in the later rounds. So good luck to both of them as the tournament continues. For now, I'm going to see if there are any other matches open.